Hello everyone, it's Amy, and I was just working on some storage, and I got to thinking that some people might ask after I showed it, how did I make it? So I thought I'd come on here and show you what I'm doing. So this is a Reader's Digest book. I love these. I collected them for a long time. I don't do much reading anymore because now when I have free time I do crafting. And so all I did was I just took the center out of my book, and the easiest way to do that is just to split it, right? Just bend it back at the spine. You can use a knife. This is actually just a pokey tool. And just run right down the spine here. And these are put together with like some kind of a thread type mesh. To make them nice and strong. So you do have to break through that, but it really isn't hard. Of course, it's a very old book, so but there we go. That just goes ahead, and actually I poked through, so I shouldn't have pushed so hard, but that's okay. That won't hurt anything. So don't push too hard because you don't want to poke through the other side. And it would be easier with a knife, but just go ahead and separate both sides and remove your pages. Now, I like to use these Reader's Digest pages in a lot of my projects because they have a bit of yellowing to them because they're getting so old, and I like that much better than pages that are just bright white. So once you take the guts out, you can put that in your paper stash, and you've got tons of paper there for flowers and all sorts of things, pockets, and now you just have the cover of your book. Now, what are we going to do with the cover of our book? Well, we're going to need some toilet paper rolls and some paper towel rolls. And what we're going to do is just take our paper towel rolls and we're going to make them square. Easy enough. Just take a round paper towel roll and just squish it flat. Once you get it flat, then what you're going to do, I got a black marker here, is it's easy to make the first fold, but the second fold, you want your thing to be square. So what you do is just make sure that where this fold is and where this fold is, which I'm just doing this to show you, you don't really have to put marks on there, but we've got the folds on each side. What you want to do is make sure that you line those folds up. So that's going to make your paper towel holder be folded square. Now I do that and I get a good press on both sides. Then I turn it around to the other end. And again, I just line up those lines. And then give it a good press on both ends. Now you pretty much know where you need to finish folding that. And then you can score that really well with a bone folder. I'm just going to use the side of my pen here and score it both ways, and I'm going to just kind of do it quickly, you know, but you're going to want to make sure that you score it really good and square that paper towel roll up. Okay, I didn't do it on here because this is really soft because it's a box to lift me up. But now you have a square. Now sometimes I go ahead, especially if they want to stay kind of rounded, and I just kind of push down in the middle all the way around, just to kind of take that bump out from where it was used to being round. And so I just kind of do like that to make sure that my sides are pretty flat. And actually I had just folded this one and I didn't do that part, so I'm going to need to do it to this one too. Now for this one, we are just going to take these squares, and they're the perfect size to fit inside our book, just like that. So all I need to do is line it up with the bottom. The easiest way to do this is close your book, stand it up, and then just take a pencil or a pen and draw right across the top. Do it on both sides. Oops. Line it up, and then mark it. And then all I do is I just flatten it out and cut that off. And I cut just a little bit under the line because I don't want it quite up to the top. I don't want it sticking out of the top of my book. So then I just use that first one as a measuring tool. Line those up on the bottom. And give that a cut. Now, these pieces that you're cutting off, don't throw those away because I'm going to use those for the next storage bit. So there we go. Put those aside. And now we have our 3 squares that we're going to stick inside our book. And all we need to do is connect these 3 edges together, just like that. So I'm just going to take, I've just got some Beacons 3-in-1, which is my favorite glue. It's a messy glue, but I really do like it. And then we're just going to make sure that we get it on there really well. And then what I usually do is just after I get them together the way I know they need to go, then I just kind of flatten them underneath a book and let them sit for just a little while. So I've got this one that's going to go here. And then put my third one on. It really is a simple, this is a simple construction. It's, the decorating part is the hardest part. Well, for me, that's the hardest part. The construction is the easy part. So just make sure that they're lined up really well, and then you can just flatten them out, push them together. Okay, see, and then after they're dry, we're just going to unfold them, and they're going to come right back to this position. But if you just flatten them out, you can put a nice heavy book on top of there. Here, I'm going to stick my gallon of glue on top of them. There. Okay, so now what we need to do is, I like to leave my books just like this. I like them to stay looking like books. And with this one, because this is going to be stand-up storage, so we can put pencils and different things like that in there. This book is going to stay exactly the same on the outside. The only thing that I do want to do is I want to cover this spine on the inside. And so I just choose a piece of paper. Hold on, I need to close my glue or I'm going to have it all over my table. There we go. And I just hold it on here. Now we've got this spine on the back side, which folds around to the front. So that's right there. And so I'm just going to go from here to here. And I just hold my paper up there, just about at that line. Then I kind of push down into the little valley there that I'm going to have to put that down in there, and then just go over to the other side, and I just make a little nick on that, and then just cut it right there. With my guillotine trimmer. I bought a rotary trimmer for my Build Your Stash series. Boy, did I have a hard time working with that. It just did not like me. Okay, so now I'm going to go from the top and I'm going to bring it down just a little bit from the edge. And then I'm going to come down to the bottom here, and I'm just going to use my thumb and just make a little mark on there. And I'm just going to cut it right there. Because it doesn't have to be perfect. And actually, I don't know why I do this with this one, because it's not going to open up. So I really didn't have to, but you know, you could possibly see down in there. I'm going to line that up, and then I'm just going to go along here and push where that fold is, and then I'm going to go over to here, kind of push where that fold is, and then I'm going to take my glue, and I'm just going to glue the book and set the paper on top of it. And again, then I go weight that down for a while. Just going to go straight up and down. I pretty much know where I need to have the glue because of where the edge of this binding is. And get some in the middle. You want to kind of get it on that edge so that it holds your paper there. And then just come over here, and then we'll be able to just stick the paper on it. Yeah, this is just a really simple, I love books. I have always loved books, even though I really don't read much anymore. And I can't get rid of my books. I mean, it's just, they're my books. But I can use them this way because then I still have them around me. So I really don't mind repurposing books. I don't mind using them. I don't mind using the pages for different things. I like to have them around me, so I don't care which way I get them, so long as I get to have them. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'll be right back. I'm going to just grab a piece of paper towel here. This is just a piece of paper towel that I folded up, and it will fit right in there. Now I'm going to put this on my counter, and I'm going to set my dictionaries on top. The paper, because I put the paper towel here, and it's just folded in half and in half, and it's actually like a half a sheet to start with. I put that in there because that will push this centerpiece, that will hold this centerpiece down, because it's just a little bit lower. So if I just put my dictionary on there, there's not going to be any pressure here, and I want pressure across the whole thing. So I'm just going to do like that, and then I'm just going to take my dictionary and put it on here like this and just let it sit for a little while. I'm going to go put this over on the counter and do that, and I will be right back to show you the other way that we're going to make some. Okay, I've got that one put aside, drying underneath some heavy dictionaries, and I took this one out. This one was over there drying, and this is the other form of storage that I'm making out of the book. Again, this is how it looks with that in there, just to kind of cover up what doesn't look nice. And so with this one, what I did was I just held it to where it looked like it was just squarely open, and then I just measured from inside to inside, and this wound up being about 1.5 inches. So then what I did was I just took, you know, the cutoffs that I had, plus you're going to need more than just that, and just measure. If I can see this, put my glasses on. I always forget to do that. Okay. And I'm going to double check this. Yep, 1.5 inches looks good. Okay, so I'm just going to make 3 little 1.5 inch marks here. And draw a line across there, just like that. And then I'm just going to cut this straight across. And I'm going to get, I think I'll get 2 pieces out of each one of these, and then I'll just go ahead and get another roll, square it up like we did at the beginning, and cut the rest of them. But that's all you do, just hold it on there. Always use the very first one as your guide, because then they'll all be about the same size. If you continue to use the newest one, by the time that you're done, your last one will be larger than your first. So you just need to make sure that the one that you start with is the one that you use to measure, or you can measure them all by hand too and mark them out. I'm just too lazy to do that. But Pop always taught me, you always only have one measuring piece, and make sure that you, usually I would have to mark it. If he was watching me and he saw me doing this without marking it, I would be in trouble. Alrighty, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 6 pieces, and these 6 pieces are going to make nice little squares. And what we're going to do with those is we are going to glue them together. And when we get them all glued together, they're going to look like this. So now this one I just painted. so that I could put it inside the book, but it looks like this, and then this is going to go inside my book, and then this is what it will look like. Now I am going to cover the edges of this with the same paper that I put in the spine, but this is what it will look like. And when you open it up, you will have all of these little compartments to store all of your small bits and bobs in, which is something I like to have, like all my little things all separated. I don't like to have like one big box and put them all in there. So, and we're all different. Everybody likes that differently. But, so we're just going to line these up like this. Now, if you thought, well, I wouldn't mind having a few, but then I want something that's larger too, you can always just take like these 6, and then that would be this section here, and then you could make a box that's 1.5 inches tall that would fit in this space, and so you would have a large area and then the 6 little areas. So you can configure it however you want to. This is just how I did it, and the way that I glued these together was I just glued them together on the flat side, just like we did with the others. And then what I did was I took masking tape. Well, I'll just give you a small gist of this because my glue doesn't want to come out. But I just glued them together like this. And then I took masking tape and folded it over the top edge. After I glued it, just like this. And I did that all the way around. You know, you're going to trim your masking tape so that it... I'm just making a mess. Trim your masking tape so it actually fits in there. Get that out of there. So, and then I would glue this here and put masking tape right here, and glue this one here and put masking tape here and here until I had them all kind of taped together. Then what I did after I glued them and put the masking tape on, and this is optional, but this is what I did. I went ahead and I took tissue paper and water glue and I covered the whole thing. I also took my masking tape after I had them all glued together and I had them all taped together. I took my masking tape and I went all the way around the whole thing. And then after that, then I took tissue paper and water glue, and I just took bits of tissue paper and just put them on there and just glued them on. And so, and that was just for a little bit of added strength. I just like tissue paper and water glue. I think it just helps sturdy things up, and I always like to do things like once. I don't want to have to do it again. So what I'm going to do with this now, and it's still a little bit wet, but I'm going to do it anyways, is I have another piece of what I had inside, and this is what was left over from my little spine thing. I kind of figured out where the edges needed to be, and I put a little line on there, and all I'm going to do is I am just going to fold this up like this, and then I'm going to cut it just from each edge like this, right to where the fold is, so that when I glue it on, this piece will come up and this piece will come up even, just like that. And then this piece will come up and it will wrap around the edges like that, just for a little finishing touch. Also, these pieces are all approximately 1/2 inch tall. I didn't measure them, I just made them. And there is about 1/2 inch on the back, which also this needs to be cut this way and this way. Now this is going to be folded up like that, and actually that's going to be the back, so it goes this way. Because I painted the back, I didn't paint the front, so I could show you the tissue paper. But this will be folded up like this, and then these will come around the corner like that. But what I'm also going to do is, as I fold this up and glue it on, I'm going to snip it. Try and do this where I'm going to snip it here. Make sure that's really where it goes. Yeah, I'm just going to snip it here. And here I'm snipping right where those come together. So that when I glue it, this piece will fold down inside. And again, that's going to give me just more strength. I'm all about just trying to make sure that it stays together when I'm done. So I'm going to glue it like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these sides and snip it like this. We'll just pretend I put glue on there, and I'll go back after I kind of get it put together. I'll go back and put the glue on because it will hold the shape for a little bit here. And then finally the last side. Again, we're just snipping right where those little dividers are. Just tuck it in. Just like that. Now what this does is not only does it cover my edges, which look nice, but it also gives me a bottom. And then it also gives me the bottom that I can glue to my book. Now the one thing that I am going to want to do is before this all gets glued together, this will be glued up like this, this will be glued in and then folded over like that. But before this all gets put together the way I just showed you, what I need to do is I need to just try and do this the quickest way as I can. I need to put glue all along each one of these bottom sections here and then glue it down like that. And the reason that I need to do that is because I don't want there to be a separation where these can lift up and stuff can get back and forth. And also because I am going to glue the paper inside the book, I don't want the paper itself to be the only thing that's holding on. I want this to be holding on to the paper, which is then in turn holding on to the book, so that it doesn't just fall out. So that is what I'm going to do. I am just going to glue all the way around, and the way that I will probably do this is I will paint my glue on with a paintbrush, and I'm going to use just my water glue. If I can get that out of there, it fit in there so nicely, it didn't want to come out. And water glue, the way that I make it is 2 parts glue to 1 part water. And then I just paint it on with a paintbrush. And basically it works like decoupage. You could use like Mod Podge or anything like that. But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to put glue on here and then fold it up. But for my bottom, I'm going to use tacky glue straight from the bottle. I don't want to use water glue for the bottom. So I'm going to put some tacky glue on here. I'm going to set this in here, and I am going to fold this all together with my water glue, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm back with I would say the first one, but the second one I showed you. And here is my book. This is what it looks like. And when you open it up, there are all of my little bits. I went ahead and I glued this on, and I used my water glue to attach it. And I went inside all of the pockets and hit the bottom of the paper, and I flipped it over and did the bottom also. And then I glued this on with the 3-in-1 beacons. I glued this to the book, and I put a piece of parchment on it because it was still a little bit damp and I didn't want it to stick to my cover. So I just put a piece of parchment on it, shut it up, and put a heavy dictionary on top just to hold that glue to get it attached well. It feels very sturdy, and now I have a really nice place to put all of my bits and bobs. So there's that one, and that one is complete unless I want to do a little more decorating. And then the other one that we started with first, I had put this here and put the dictionary on it to hold it down while it was getting dry. And so this is all ready, and then I just pressed my finger in here like this just to get that paper pushed down. And here are I had flattened them like this and put them under a dictionary, and now they're dry. So now I'm just going to open them back up. And what I'm going to do, this book is going to be glued closed. So I don't need to worry about what the sides or anything look like. But I am going to cover this piece here. And I just cut a piece that's 4.5 inches wide because we knew that these were 1.5 inches wide. And so I'm just going to attach this on like this. And I am also going to just take a strip of paper to go around the top, and then I'm going to cut it at all the corners so that I can fold that down. You know, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think so. I think that this does not look bad, so I'm going to just leave it. That would just be something else to get caught and torn. So I'm just going to glue this on here, and I'm going to use this tacky glue. This is it's not really, it's a type of tacky glue from the dollar store. And so I'm just going to put this on here and then attach that front piece. And like I said, it's going to be attached. I just want to make sure that I get the edges well, because that's really the only spot. Now I am going to have to put a bottom in it, or on it, and so I am going to put a piece of paper across the bottom. Just kind of wrap that around there. The only place it's going to show is right here. And move this one. Just kind of press that down. I'm going to, there we go. And maybe I've got a little screwdriver here. I'm just going to use this to go in and kind of push down in there where I can't reach. Just go in here on the edges and press down as far as I can. And there we go. I've got a little bit sticking over there, so I'll just trim that off. Grab my scissors. And here also. This is the side that I cut. And it's a little bit like straighter or flatter, whatever you want to say, than, you know, this is a little bit smushed up from where it had gone around on the paper towel roll. So I'm going to put this as my top. And then I am going to put something underneath of it. And the one thing that I was thinking is, I'm going to use this to hold like pens and pencils and that type of thing. And they're not going to fit to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff some newspaper in the bottom of each one of these so that when I put my pen in, it only goes so far so that it doesn't go all the way to the bottom and kind of get lost in there. So there is what that looks like, and that's going to glue into the book just like this, probably right about there. I'm going to line it up with the bottom, and it's going to look just like that. So, and I think what I'm going to do, there's not enough room to put, even if you put it tight. The fourth one kind of sticks out. I wonder if I could, you know what? I think I might be able to fit a fourth one in there. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and guess what? It does fit. So it does stick right out to the edge, which is why on my little one, I wanted it to kind of have that little edge like a book does. So that is why I did this one this way. And this book just for some reason doesn't look like it would have fit another one anyways. But yeah, so this one has 3, but this one I am going to be able to fit 4 in, and it's going to look like that. So all I need to do is just go in. I'm going to go in and I'm going to glue it here and here. Just going to glue those two together, and then what I'll do is I'll just flatten that out just like that and set that under a dictionary again just to make sure that it sticks good. And then what I'm going to do is I just took a paper towel roll and folded it in a square, and then I'm just cutting off one piece of it, one side of the square, so that I have this left. And then what I'm going to do is, because it's exactly the same size as these rolls, I'm going to make the fold out just a little bit. Now, it doesn't have to go out much because literally I only have the thickness of 2 of these pieces of cardboard. But I am going to move it out just a touch so that that bottom part right down under here is going to be a little bit wider. And then this is what I am going to put on the bottom to hold in the newspaper that I stuff in there to hold my pens a little bit higher. So, but also, like, I have some things like skewers and stuff that I need a place to store. And so, like, for the skewers, this is going to be perfect because they're not going to stick way up and be kind of lopsided. So there we go. So now I have this, and I am going to, after I put these two pieces together, I'm going to glue this on here just like that. So I'm going to glue that on there like that, and yes, there is a little bit of a gap here, but that's not going to make a difference unless I was putting sand or something in here. That's not going to matter. So I'm going to glue this on here like this. The one thing is I put my paper on here before I did that, and so that kind of looks a little funny. So I probably will put another piece of paper on here after everything is dry, and what I will do is I'll put the paper on here, and then I will wrap it like right on here, so it will just cover, so you won't see that hole when it's sitting here. So, and the other side will be pushed up against the back of the book, so it's not going to make any difference. So I will just need to take this and just cut it. Oops, where'd my scissors go? Just cut it right here. Right there. And there we go. Now I have got my bottom base to put on there after I after I get them all glued together. So there we go. That's what it will look like. And then I'm going to glue it in here, close the book, and I will glue this one, the front cover and the back cover to it. So this will be one solid piece just like that. So, and so now you can put things in here, and you can actually slide it into a bookcase if you want to. You know, if you've got things stored in your book in a bookcase, that'll just slide right in there. It'll sit up on the edge of your desk. So that's what our pen and pencil holder will look like. And this is what our little doodad holder looks like. So I'll be back when I'm completely finished and put something in them and show you what they look like at the end. Thank you very much. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I wasn't going to come back till I had everything filled, but this is all glued together, just like I told you I was going to do it, except for two things. I forgot to put on the cardboard piece before I put the paper on, and so this is just paper, but that's not really going to, it's pretty sturdy, and it's going to have some stuffing in there, so I'll be all right with that. The only problem is this is the bottom. This is the top of the book. So if I were to set the book in a bookcase, this would have to be the top. If I wanted to set it up even on my desk, and to put it this way upside down, that would really bother me. So I have to fix this. So I thought I would come back and just show you that things happen, and the way I'm going to fix this, it's actually good that I forgot to put the cardboard on there first, because at least now I don't have to cut through that. I'm just going to find the edge of my cardboard and just cut across. Now this is going to be my top now. And so what I'm going to do, gotta find the edge of my cardboard on this one, is I am going to fold it in, I think, like I had originally talked about, just to kind of finish off the edges, just because it's here. So I'm gonna cut a straight line like this. Well, we'll call that Amy straight, because it's not real straight. But anyways, you'll get the gist of what I'm doing here, and then I'm just going to, might as well use my scissors for this part. Just go in here, find out where the edge is. Give it a snip. And because this piece of paper, when it folded back, wasn't long enough, I actually had to add another piece. So there's some spots here where I'm two thicknesses thick. But that won't hurt anything. Cut it there. Cut it there. And since my scissors won't cut all the way to the point, I'm going to have to extend this out to the edge. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that when you're putting your book together, if you're making one that's going to stand up, and if it will bother you if your book stands up upside down like that, pay attention to when you're putting the bottom of your stand-up tubes in there, pay attention to where the top is. So it happens, but everything is always fixable. And that's, that's all we can do. Can't cry over spilt milk. That's what my mom used to say. Although you could get in trouble over spilt milk. So, alrighty. So what I am going to do now, there we go. Now I have it fixed. This is now my top. And, of course, I'll glue those down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of cardboard across here. And I'm just going to cut it to the shape. Luckily, I do have a little bit of an edge there, so my cardboard will fit right up inside. And I'm going to just use the paper tube that I had cut that originally should have fit onto there. And I'm just going to cut it flat, glue it on all the little spaces, and then set it for a little bit. And then I will glue these together. I might take a piece of this paper and glue it over these edges here because they're kind of rough. And I will be back in just a second to show you it filled like I promised a few minutes ago. And I'm back for the final little share. Okay, so here we go. I have stuffed newspaper, which you probably can't see, but I stuffed newspaper down inside these three. I left, this will be the back when I slide it into a bookcase or set it on my desk. So this one I left empty because I want to put my skewers in here. I did fold these little pieces of paper over here, and I think that just finishes it off a little bit. On the bottom, I glued this piece of cardboard, and then I took my paper towel like I had yesterday that was folded up, and I set that, I put a piece of parchment on here because this was wet glue, and then I put that, because we have a bit of a dent in here, I put the paper towel on top of there, and then I used this one next to it so that I had some height, and I set a dictionary on there to hold that down till it dried. Bet you couldn't guess what I was going to say there. But it is very important to let things dry. I know I always get frustrated a little bit with Papa when he's like, leave it for 24 hours. I don't necessarily leave it for 24 hours, but you really do need to put something heavy and let it dry for a while. I will say that these two projects took me about 2 days with all of the drying time going back and forth, and of course then just regular life happening. But it took about 2 days to finish both of these. And so I have this finished, and what I'm going to use this one for, well, we'll fill that in a second. I wanted to show you this one now. I set this one up like this to use to hold up the dictionary, and I put one of the rubber bands that I had from the journals that we made in the Build Your Stash series. And so I want to see, I haven't looked yet, I want to see if everything has kind of shifted places. And it looks like I lost one. Oh, I may have lost this, or I might not have, because actually when I dumped those in there, I kind of spilt them around a little bit. So, but here I just have some of the things that I wanted to store. I just have my brads and my little paper clips, my little foam flowers, and all those things were all like in little plastic baggies in my Build Your Stash box. And, it's just not, I don't like to store this way. I had all of these with paper clips on top and that kind of stuff. And instead of that, now they're just in this little space, and I still have all of this space left to go. Now these are things I haven't actually used yet. They're 4 projects. And then I think that I might also make another one just like this to put my finished projects in. So I can put my finished brads and my finished tacks and that kind of stuff in there. Oops. Now you can also put a little piece of cardboard here that folds down, and put some Velcro on it, and a little piece of Velcro here to Velcro your top shut. You can do it however you want to do that. I just thought that this flower just kind of looked pretty. And it does hold it together really well. It's just the perfect, not too tight, not too loose. So there is our first Little Bits box. And then I'm going to move this box out of the way, and we'll fill this one. I've got, if you didn't want to build the paintbrush holder, when we were doing Build Your Stash, because that was, took a long time, you could make one like this. This was the easiest out of the two, and you could probably do this even drying time in a couple of hours. But we've got a place there where we can put our pens. You could put your scissors in there, and I wanted some place, because again, my skewers were just in their bag. So I just wanted a place to put my skewers. And actually, I think I'm going to put them point side down, because if I put them point side up, I will constantly be poking myself. But there we go. Now I don't really need to put my paintbrushes in here, because I have the paintbrush holder, but I will be able to put my extra pens that I find around in here, and you know, just different things that I need that are tall that I need to store. And just slide that onto my desk and set that there. And I can either stand this one up, because now I know it does not really spill, and you can see that there's no gap there. So maybe if you had sequins or something really, really thin, they might move around. But other than that, nothing's going to be able to go from one section to another. So I can just put those on my desk, and that's what they'll look like. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that this is a nice, easy way for you to make some storage for yourself. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.